Okay, so welcome back, everyone. I hope yesterday's session was clear to everyone. Like everyone is clear with their basics right now. Everyone tried out some programs on Java. So today, let's just try some basic algorithms. Okay, some basic algorithms by which we could build our logic more clearly. Okay, and we could uh, improve our coding style. Okay, so let's just have a basic class first. Let's just clear it out everything. Okay, we just have this main class right now, and let's just delete the other classes. We don't need them right now. Okay, we have this the simple main class for now. So first, let's just see a very basic search algorithm, that is linear search. Okay, linear search is like a very basic algorithm for searching elements if you have an array of elements. So like what's the logic behind it, how we write programs for it, let's just see now. Okay, uh, see, I'll tell you how it works and internally. It See, linear search is used to search a key for an element. Okay, for where is, like in an array, suppose you have an array where that element lies in that array. So for that we use linear search. Okay, and it like traverses through the whole array, and that's why it is little bit slow than the other algorithms. But yeah, it is the most simple algorithm if you have a very little data. Okay, if you have a very little set of data, then this is a very basic algorithm that you can try over there. So let's see how can we build a program or a function for performing linear search. Okay, so first what we did is we'll have a class. Okay, we have it already, a main class. Okay, inside it, let's have a main method first. Okay, like we need it every time. So I hope this syntax of declaring the main method in Java is very much, like everyone must be very familiar with this. We have been seeing this syntax from 2 days now. Okay, so let's have our main method first. Okay, that's it. So this is our main method. Okay, oh, I didn't put the void thing. Okay, now it is fine. So see, we have our main method now. Now let's just declare an simple array over here. Okay, simple array with few elements in there. Okay, let it be an integer array. Let's name it a1. Okay, you can name it anything. Let's let it have some elements like 10, 20, 40, 60. Okay, 100, 90, like any number of random elements it has. Okay, and it would also have a key. Okay, so what that key would do is, okay, if that element is found, okay, we'll have a key element like key. We have to find that element, so we will have a key for that, for which element we are going to find. Okay, so let the key be, okay, suppose like elements position which we go to find is, let's consider 100. Okay, so let the key be 100 for now. Okay, and now let's just build a function or for the linear search. Okay, let's just build a basic function above here, or you can also build it anywhere below it, or in some other class also if you want to build. Let's just build that function below this main method. Okay, so that function would be public integer, okay, because it is going to return an integer, okay. And let's just name it linear search, okay. It will accept an array, okay, an array of elements. Name it ARR. You can name it anything, okay. And the key, okay, the key which element. The key doesn't mean anything. The key is just the element which we want to find inside that array, okay. So let's just give it a key, okay. So we made a function, okay, or a method which is having two parameters of int type. One is of type an integer array, and the other one is type integer, and that is key, okay. So like this is very simple, this algorithm, but it is slow as compared to the other one, okay. We'll see the other one also, but okay, let's see how can we find that particular element in that array, or okay, or that group of elements. So what we'll do is let's have a for loop for that, okay. What we are doing, I hope that is clear, key. We have this array, okay, we have this array which has some number of elements, okay, and it has random elements. And we gave it this key, okay. This key means the element which we want to find, which of which position we want to find inside this array, okay. So like this is clear to everyone, okay. And we for finding that position of this element, we are making a method or a function for that, okay. And we'll call this function every time whenever we want to just find a position of that element, okay. So yeah, here we'll have as integer which would start from 0, okay. See, on linear search, like let's just first write the whole code, then I'll explain you how it works, okay. I and the length of this for loop, the ending point of this for loop would be the length of that array. So ARR should be sorry, less than ARR dot length, okay. Out length is just a function that we get in an array. If you want to find the length of an array, this is we get this function for that, okay. And on one more parameter, what we have to pass the increment, okay. One more I plus plus, okay. So this is a basic for loop that we are building, okay. So what will we do inside this for loop? Key, we'll check every element, okay. And as soon as the match is found, okay, as soon as that key is found, we'll return that position, okay. We'll return that value of I at that point, okay. So let's what should we do here? Let's have an if condition arr, okay, array dot ith element whatever. So if the array ka ith element is equal to the key that we are passing, okay, then uh, then what we'll do is we'll return that at that position, okay, that particular value of I at that point, okay. And one more we have to give one more condition key. If what we'll do, okay, if the match for that is not found, in that case what we'll do is we'll return -1, okay. This will just mean ki the match of that, like the key which we are asking is not available inside that array, okay. So this function is clear, okay. Let's just make it a static function, okay. It is throwing us an error, okay. Just throwing error. Okay, we have to write this return outside the for loop. We've been returning it inside it. Yeah, now the error is gone. Okay. So we'll go inside the main function and just call this function and see how it works. Okay. So let's just try printing that. Okay. Or let's just assign that value to some integer. We can do anything. Okay. So let's just try printing it directly. Okay. We will pass the key. What key we have to pass? We'll interpolate a string over here. Okay. Uh, is found at index. Okay. Let's give it little spaces. And we'll call the function. Okay, which will return that. Okay. Linear search function will call over here. And the array which will pass it will be a1, and the key will be the key. Okay. Now we'll see how it is working. Okay. Array.length value is not defined. Array.length is a function, right? If you have used arrays in any language, you have some inbuilt function like array.length, or like if you have some collections in Java like array list and all, there we get functions, different kind of function if we want to find the position of some element. So this is just a function of an array function which returns us the length of that array. Okay. So what is happening over here is कि as soon as I specify it as array.length, it will search in this array and it will find its length and return its length over here. Okay. So instead of hard coding the value of length, suppose what is its length? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 is the length of his array. So instead of hard coding 6 over here, if I like type 6, then also it will work. But if I try adding more elements in this array, okay, if I try adding some other elements also, so at that time we cannot just go on and every time change the length. Okay, so that's why we directly use this array.length function. So it will automatically calculate its length and assign its value over there. Okay. So this is just a function of an array function, like not a big deal. Okay. So let's just see how this linear search is working. Okay. Like we are working on a linear search algorithm, the most basic algorithm in this search operation. If you have a big set of data, I would not suggest ki this would work over there. But yeah, for now let's just see how this linear search is working. Okay. So first what we did is we created a main function. We gave it an array. Okay. A key is just a number whose position we want to find inside that array. Okay. And for the linear search, we made a function or a method over here. Okay. We made this method over here for for performing that function. Can we write the for loop in the main function? You can write it directly in the main function also, but when you'll have like a bigger code, when you'll have some bigger functions to perform, then you cannot just keep on going. Okay, you cannot like every time write randomly that. Okay, suppose like I have another array. I hope you all know what is the purpose of functions. If you have done any programming in C or C++, there also we define functions for everything. So that function is that so we can reuse the code. Okay, suppose like I could have done it. I could have directly passed the for loop over here, and I could have wrote the if conditions over here. But what if we have some other? So suppose we have one more array. At that time, we have to rewrite the whole thing. So instead, what we did is we wrote a function over here, and every time we have different kinds of arrays, then it we can just call that function and pass that array and the key as parameters. That's why we wrote a function over here. Okay. So so this is clear, right? We are running a for loop over here across that array. Okay. Like very simple. We are checking every element of that array, and inside the for loop we wrote this if condition. Key if that array dot ith element, okay, that ith element of that array is equal to the key, okay. What is the key? What we want to find is we are passing this key, okay. So if that is found, the match is found, return that position, and it will give us the position of that particular element, okay. And if the match is not found, if the key is invalid, suppose you have passed some element, like you wrote some weird element over here, like you passed some random number which is not in the array, then it will pass -1, okay. So that's why for handling that kind of error, we wrote this one validation, we could say, okay. So what we are doing is we want to find the position of any element from this array. Let's find the position for 90, okay. So this is 90, okay. Let's just try running this code and see what we get, okay. See, we got it over here. Key 90 is found at index 5. Let's see if it is correct or not. 1, 2, 3. Like it starts from 0, right? And if you know even little bit about arrays in programming, arrays start from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, it is giving us the right position of that element, okay. Suppose like if we try finding some other element, like try finding 40, okay. In case of 40, it will give its position to us. Okay, now it is giving us 2, okay. But suppose someone is there who don't know, who's not from the programming world, and he's saying that it is located in the third position, and why it is giving us 2, okay. Like we know, we are programmers, so we know key array starts from 0. So in that case, you could just write here the I plus 1 give, okay. So it will give us a position which a normal person could also understand, okay. So see, now it is giving 3. So now a normal person could say ki, yeah, this is at the third position and this is right, okay. Okay, so like you can add many validations as you wish, okay. So now let's just see if we have some weird case. We are passing an element which is not present in that array. Like we are passing 30, okay. So let's just see what happens in this case, okay. See, now we are getting is -1, means it is not present. As I wrote in this function key, if the match is not found, return -1, okay. And also it's just for loop, okay. So like this is very clear. You can also pass like a kind of string over here key the match is not found and all, okay. So you can do it, okay. So this was about linear search, okay, a very basic algorithm, okay, very basic search algorithm. Let's see, let's move up a little bit and let's just try one more search algorithm that is present in Java. Like not present in Java, you can try out this in any language, okay. So let's now see about binary search, okay. Let's just remove all this, okay. You have to import the package name, okay. Yeah, let's just have our traditional main method over here, okay. uh, if you just type main in Eclipse, you'll get this shortcut to have the main method, okay. So now I hope linear searches, everyone is comfortable. It just traverses through the whole array, and wherever the match of that element is found, it returns that position or that position of that element. Okay, so that was the most simple. But because like it goes on checking on every individual document, it is very slow. Like now we had only 5 6 elements. Suppose you have thousands of and lakhs of elements in an array. In that case, like I don't think the linear search would be, you would prefer linear search, because like it would take a time to like loop through every element over there and find a position. If it is located in the 1000 or 2000 position in that array, at that time it will become very slow. So like when we are designing big systems, at that time we cannot rely on that. So we have one more approach, or one more kind of algorithm for that. Okay, that is called binary search. Okay, so binary search is like used to find a key from multiple elements. Okay, and it is faster than linear search. Okay, in case of binary search, array must be in ascending order. Yeah, this is the case. So like we could do this key, we could first arrange the or sort the array in ascending order, and after that we fire up a binary search. But we'll see how do we perform the sorting operations. But for now, let's just give it a sorted array, and let's just try performing binary search on it. Okay, so let's just see how binary search works, and how what kind of logic we have to build for it. Okay, so let's just have uh, let's just write the code for it. Okay, so again the basic thing, an integer array. Okay, it will have some elements. Okay, binary search, keep in mind, if you're using binary search, you have to pass an sorted array. If you give it an unsorted array, it will mess up. Okay, so you have to give it a sorted. Like we'll see how to sort an array also after this, but for now let's just simply give it a sorted array. But if you have some condition like that, first write a method to sort that array, and after that fire up the binary search function. Okay, so we'll give it the sorted one. Okay, 50, 60, 80. Okay, so this is sorted array we gave it. Okay, key. Okay, which element should we find that key we have to pass. Okay, this would be an integer, and key is equals to which element should be. Then let's try finding 45. Okay, and one more thing we have to pass is we have to pass the last element of that. Okay, so like we have to pass the length of that. Okay, so like let's just pass the last element of that. Int last is equals to array dot length. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are just passing the length of that array and minus one, because like if you are at the last position, the that is going to get sorted anyhow. So like wait a minute, we'll just write the whole code, then you'll get a clear picture of this, what is happening. Okay, so let's just write a function for this. This function would get a little bit complex than the linear search one. Okay, in linear search we didn't assign the last length. I told you there's a reason. Like this binary search is a little bit faster than linear search because we are giving it length. You'll get a let's get a clear picture of this as soon as we write the whole method or the function for this. Okay, first let me write the whole function, then I'll tell you why didn't we assign the last length over there over in the linear search. Okay, so let's write a function for it. Okay, so uh, we'll write a function which would like return a void. Okay, void would be fine. Let's make it a static function. Okay, uh, binary search, right? And here what we'll pass is we'll pass the array. Okay, I hope this is clear to you how we pass parameters and all in a function. This is a very basic thing in programming. We'll pass the int first. Okay, first would be the first element of that array. Okay, first position, where is the where from where we want to perform the first anyhow would be zero in our case. Like the first index of our array is zero, but still we'll pass it. Okay, we'll specify everything. That would be more look more cleaner. And one more we have to pass in last. Okay, and one more thing we have to pass is we have to pass is the key. We have to pass the key for this. Okay, so this is fine. So these are the four parameters. We're creating a function which is which has a return type of void. Okay. Now, one thing we have to do is, well, we have to find the middle position of that array. Okay, we have to find the midpoint of that array. Okay, whatever array we have, we have to find the midpoint of it. So we'll have a mid variable over here, and this mid variable would be like, just try to follow along for now. Once we build the whole function, I'll explain you how this is working. Okay, for now, just try to follow along with me what I'm doing. Okay, so this would be the first plus last. Okay, and we'll divide this whole by 2. So what this will do is, this will have, this is the first index, that is 0. Okay, and last index is this one. Okay, array dot length and -1. So this is the last index of our array, and this is divided by 2. So what we'll get is, we'll get the middle index of that array, the midpoint of that array we'll get over here. Okay, and now let's just try a loop, running a loop over here. We have been playing around with for loops for a while. Let's just try a different loop now. Let's just try the while loop for now. Okay, you can use the for loop also, but let's just try something different. Okay, we have the first and is less than or equal to last. Okay, so this is it. What we are doing is, we are just checking the condition. Okay, uh, and inside this, uh, we'll start from the midpoint of that array. Okay, so if arrays ka mid, okay, midpoint of that array is less than the key. Okay, and then what should we do is, we'll just assign that variable to our first one. Okay, first just let me build the whole code, then this will be clear to you. This is very easy, not a big deal. Okay, and we'll have some more conditions over here. Key else if array is father, the midpoint is equal to the key. Okay, we'll just so like we in this condition, what will happen is, we directly found the key for the position of that key. So in this case, this would be very easy. We could directly just print key, we have found the match for that. Okay, so we found at index. Okay, plus, and we'll pass that value of that index, that would be the mid one. Okay, and one more last condition we'll have over here is, we will have one more else block. Else last is equals to midpoint -1. I think this would be the thing. Okay, so yeah, this is it. Okay, after this, we will have to do one thing. We have to pass the mid is equals to, and just one more if condition we'll have over here is, that would be if like, one more validation we'll add is key, if the first one is greater than the last one. Okay, in that case, just print out the element not found. Okay, So yeah, this is the function. Okay, this is the whole function for this. Now I'll just call this function and I'll tell you how this is working. Okay, so let's just call this. Okay, what was the name of our function? That was binary search. Okay, pass it our array. Will pass first index. We have to pass first index would definitely be 0. If you can, like, this is also flexible key. If you want to check from some other index instead of the first one, this would also work in that way. But yeah, we'll start from 0. Okay, last, I told you how this is. Last is there. Okay, uh, yeah, so now let's jump into our function and tell you how binary search is working. Okay, linear search was very simple. It was just going through the whole array and trying to find a match, and whenever the match was found, it was just giving us that position. But binary search is little bit complex. Okay, it does it has little more validations. That's why it is little bit faster. Okay, it is not doing that random stuff. Okay, so let's just see how binary search is working. Okay, so what is that is, we give it a sorted array. Okay, first I told you you have to give it an sorted array. Okay, and after that what it does is it 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 goes to the midpoint of that array. Okay, it finds the midpoint of that array. Okay, like this. Okay, int mid is what is it, it's just the first and the last index divided by 2. It finds the midpoint of that index, and then what we did is we wrote a while loop in which key, until this condition is met, keep on repeating it. Okay, so like if we wrote some conditions over here ki if the midpoint is less than key, okay, then just increase the midpoint by 1. Okay, and here we have another condition ki if like the midpoint is greater than key, that greater than our key, then uh this would happen ki last would get reduced by 1. Okay, so we are first, what we are doing is we are finding the midpoint of that array, and we have that key. Okay, and we have that key. Okay, we have a while loop, and we assigned our key over here. And what we are doing is if that midpoint element is less than our key. Okay, mid is nothing. Mid is just our midpoint which we got over here. Like when we started our function, we just found this one value called mid. Mid is nothing. It's just the midpoint of that array. Okay, suppose you have an array of length 10. Mid is just like like the midpoint. Like 5 would be the midpoint if then array is having a length of 10. Okay, so it's just that. Okay, and here we wrote some conditions. We wrote a while loop until this condition is met. Keep on looping through this. Okay, so yeah. Okay, now, and one more, if none of the condition is satisfied. Okay, if none of the thing is working, we just wrote this one more if block key, the element is not found. Okay, suppose you wrote some invalid element key which is not present in over there in this array, so we wrote a validation for it key that element is not found. And this while loop is very simple. Okay, if you carefully look into it. Okay, see what is happening. I'll just show you. Okay, what is happening inside this for loop is like we wrote these two conditions. Okay, if array that midpoint is less than the key, then just increase the midpoint by 1, and else just decrease the midpoint by 1. Okay, and while doing this increasing and decreasing, if anyhow the midpoint is equal to the key which we passed, it will give its position. Okay, over here. Okay, so yeah, this is the logic. I think this is a little bit difficult or complex to understand, I would say. But yeah, once you practice this would be very easy. Okay, this is not a big deal. Very simple algorithm. Okay, let's just try running this. Okay, this will just search what the position of that element. Okay, oh, it is going in at a infinite loop. Okay, we have to write one break condition over there. say, as you can see, it went inside an infinite loop. I think we messed up something in the loop. So okay, just stop it, stop this loop. Okay. Here we have to do this thing. We have to add a break keyword. Okay. Whenever that condition is met, just write a break keyword so that it would come out of the loop whenever this condition is met. Okay. If the met point is equal to the key. I've written it 2 times. Okay. This is just to assign. Okay. If none, like if these conditions are not met, this is to again assign. See, we are see, this one I wrote outside the loop. Okay. And this one I wrote inside the loop. If you can observe this carefully, I wrote this inside the loop. Key while we are looping, like if you know how a while loop works, it is just key we give our checking condition down here, and like the increment decrement whatever we do, that condition we give down here. So this is just the condition which I gave. Key, like, see, what we are doing is if this if block is executed, okay, if this condition is satisfied, key, the midpoint is less than the key, then it will go here. Okay. And it will again calculate, because we increase the value of first by +1, so it will again calculate the midpoint, and again it will execute the while loop. Okay. So as we saw here, this while loop was getting executed infinite times. Okay. So we just wrote a break statement over here, and now let's just try running this one more time. Now it is giving us the correct answer. It was giving us 2. Okay. The key which we passed for this was, I think, key was 45, and the position of 45 is 2. Okay. Not getting the difference between linear search and binary search. Okay. See, wait, just a minute. I'll tell you. First, just see how this is working. Okay. We wrote an array, we passed a key, we passed its last element's length. Okay, in short, it's just the length minus 1, because like the last element we do not want to check, because if we are checking until the second last element, that would still work, that would automatically get sorted. Okay, so that's why we are not checking until the last one. So this is clear. Okay. And in this function, what we did is, first, like, this is starting from the midpoint of an array. Okay. What linear search was doing is, linear search was starting from the initial point, from the index 0. And suppose, like, if you have a bigger array, suppose you have 1,000 elements in your array, at that time, don't you think that would be little very slow? Like, internally, if you have like a big array of elements, and if you want to search something from that, so linear search would be very slow, because what it is doing, it is just going one by one through every element from 0 to 1,000, and that process would take a lot of time. And it is doing like, if that like the element is found, and it is returning the position. And in this, what we are doing is, we have a little bit of complex logic over here. We are first finding the midpoint of that array. That is the first would be 0, right? 0 is the index. For 0 index to the last index, we are finding its midpoint. And then what we are doing is, we have this two. If you just focus on these two else if blocks, we are just like tweaking the code little bit, like we are tweaking that midpoint. And as soon as those are getting executed, we are just reassigning the value of midpoint inside this while loop. Okay. And this while loop, we wrote a condition key until the first is less than or equal to the last, and like keep on executing the while loop. And as soon as we found that key, the midpoint is equal to the key, we are just printing it out. Okay. So this is how it is working. Okay. It is giving us the right index. And one more condition I told you, you should have a sorted array. Okay. If you give it an unsorted array, it will mess up. Okay. So first you have to sort the array. We'll see how the sorting also works. Okay. If you pass some element which is not present in an array, it will give you key element not found. Element not found, as I wrote one more condition, one last condition outside this loop. Okay. So yeah, this is it about binary search. Okay. Let's just now see one more kind of searching. Now searching is enough, I think. Like, there are various more you can try searching algorithms. Let's just see about sorting algorithms. Okay. We have different kinds of sorting algorithms also in Java, like not in Java, sorry. We like you can do this in any language. uh, like if you want to go into competitive coding and all, there you need to have strong logic, okay. And for building that strong logic, you can try this try these different kinds of algorithms, okay. Like there, you if you are into competitive coding, just choose any one language which you like. Like most popular ones are like C++, Java, and Python. These are the three most popular programming languages in competitive coding. And like there are websites, if you know, like Hacker Earth and CodeChef and all, there they organize competitions, and they give you some complex problems, okay. Like they would give you some complex problems, some real life complex problem, and you have to write down the whole code for that, okay. Like those are very good if you have strong logic, if you have worked on your logic building. So that's why this is very helpful, okay. That's why this would be very like a very good head start if you try out these algorithms on your own, okay. So I would strongly suggest go for this. And also we have different kind of data structures and all. We'll see how those works also, how those data structures also work, okay. Programming PPT. See, these are not definite things, so I'll try to make out of one PPT out of it if I can. But these are all just logical part. You cannot just try learning these things. You'll get to you'll get comfortable with these only by practicing. Okay, there's no other way. You cannot just read programs and start doing it. Okay, all these things would come only by practice and practice. Okay, that's it. Okay, so yeah, let's move on. Let's try now a sorting algorithm. Okay, what we are doing is we are not doing some fancy stuff. We are just playing around with some for loops and if else conditions, and we are doing some very major stuff, okay. If you have like now we don't have a bigger data set. If you have some very big data set at that time, these all logics would be very helpful to you, okay. So yeah, let's start with the other one. Let's start with bubble sort, okay. The very basic sorting algorithm, I would say the most basic one, okay. Same thing we have to do. Pass an array, okay. Any number of elements you can have, okay. An unsorted array, okay. Like you can pass any elements randomly, okay. This is an unsorted array we have, okay. So yeah, this is our unsorted array. We can add more elements to it. And what we are going to do is we're going to sort this array using bubble sort, okay. Bubble sort is very basic, okay. It is also it is a slower one, but yeah, let's start it. This is we'll use this, okay. So let's first build the function for this, then we'll worry about our main function. Oh sorry, we have to put this thing inside a main function. So let's just write our main function over here, okay. And let's just paste this stuff inside our main function, okay. So this is clear, okay. So let's just write a function for bubble sort, okay. Again, one more function which will return nothing, void, okay, void. uh, Java is very strongly typed, I would say. You have to specify everything. You do not have that flexibility, okay. But yeah, this is also very good because you define everything in a structured way. So when you are looking at that code after some time, it becomes very helpful, okay. Like if you try out some other languages, like if you write very big things in JavaScript and all like that, they are very flexible. You can if you even don't specify this return type, then they would accept your function, okay. But again, when you're reading that code, when you are like working on that code for a long time, it becomes a mess, okay. That's why like many people choose Java still, okay, because it is so very well structured. Although like when we are looking into it, it may look little bit different. It may look a little bit big, but still, this is that one advantage which I like to mention, okay. So let's write a logic for our bubble sort, okay. uh, we will have an array of integers, okay, which will pass as an parameter, okay, integer n, and it will be equal to array dot length, okay. And one more basic thing which we got to have is we'll have a temporary variable, okay. I'll tell you why we need this temporary variable, okay. uh for loop, every time we need it. You can also use a while loop, do while loop, whatever you feel good, okay. So for loop we'll use over here a normal for loop which will start from 0. uh I should be less than n, okay, and I plus plus. uh yeah, this is fine, okay. Inside this for loop, I'll tell you what we are going to do is very simple. One more if condition. Uh, no, we will have. I think we'll have one more because we are going to loop through in a different way. So we'll have one more for loop inside it. We'll nest a for loop inside it. Okay. I hope you all are clear. Key what is nesting and all. Okay. If you have worked with 2D arrays and all, there we need this kind of nesting. Okay. This will start from one, I think. Okay. And j would be less than or equal to n minus I. Okay. The n is the length of our array and n minus I. Okay. And inside this we'll write the code for swapping the elements. Okay. For sorting the elements. Okay. So like array we have j minus 1. Okay. I'll tell you what is what why are we writing these. Just a minute. Just let me write the whole code. Okay. And yeah. Now we'll write the code to swap elements. Okay. To swap elements. Okay. Because for sorting we have to swap. Okay. If the match is found we have to swap. Okay. If it is greater than or less than, then we have to swap those elements accordingly. So for swapping, I think the logic is very simple. First we assign our that particular variable to our temp, which is 0, or a temporary, you can call it temporary variable it is. And our j minus 1 1th element we'll first assign it to it. Okay. Then we'll swap it with the j plus or the jth element. Okay. J minus 1 is equal to j. Okay. So this is it. And our last line we have to write is our array of jth element would be equal to our temp. So yeah, this is the logic for like swapping. Okay. Swap, I wrote over here key we are swapping elements. So this is the simple, very basic logic for swapping. If you have two numbers, if you want to swap this, you can use this logic. First assign the first element which you want to swap to a temporary variable, then go and swap that element with the other one which you are going to swap it, and at the last just assign that assign the other one to the temporary one. So this will swap with the both two numbers. Okay. So yeah, this is the logic for bubble sort. Very simple. The most basic one, I would say, most basic sorting algorithm is this bubble sort. Okay. uh, let's just try running this function that we wrote. Okay. uh, First, let's just try printing the array before sorting. Okay. So first, let's just print that array before sorting. Okay. We'll do here a CISO. Uh, Array before sorting. Okay. So this. Uh, we have to make this method static because we are using some different logic. Okay, don't worry about this for now. So yeah, array before sorting, we'll just print this array. Okay, this whole array as it is before sorting. Okay, so for that, this is simple. We'll write a for loop over here, an integer I, whatever you want to call it, Gunpal. Here I would start from zeroth position of that array, and it would be till the length of that array. We arr dot length. Okay, and one more we I plus plus. So yeah, we wrote this for loop for printing our and one more system.out. Here what we'll print is we'll just print that array, the unsorted array first, and after that we'll just give it a little space so that the numbers don't get stick to each other. Okay, they don't stick to each other. So yeah, this is the array before sorting, and now we'll perform our bubble sort. Okay, bubble sort function we'll call now, bubble sort, and we'll pass our array to it. Okay, whatever array we have, the name of that array as arr only. So now we'll print the array after sorting. So let's just copy paste this. Okay, array after sorting. After sorting. So yeah, this is clear. Okay, what we are doing is we have a static method. If we don't have a static method, this could have printed this array again. That's why I made that method as static so that the it has that kind of one copy storage. Okay, so yeah, let's just try printing or running this program. What we get, then I'll tell you the logic behind this. See, sorry, I wrote print ln. That's why they are. I'll just remove this ln so they'll not go to the next line. So yeah, now let's just try running this. Oh, we have to be careful about what we write. Okay, first let's just have slash n over here. I have slash n works. Okay. Oh no, slash n doesn't work like that. I have to. I don't know this if this works in Java. I never tried this. We'll have a simple system.out.println to just print a blank line. Okay, so that we are able to differentiate between our code. So yeah, now as you can see here, see, array before sorting was this. Okay, this was this our array, and after we performed our bubble sort, this array got sorted in the ascending order. Okay, if you don't want the ascending order, you want this in descending order. There's only one change you have to do is to go here and change this sign to a greater than sign. Okay, now this will print a array in descending order. I think, yeah, this is now printing in a descending order. So yeah, this is about bubble sort. Okay, you give it you give it any array. Okay, and it will just swap elements according to their position, and it will give you a sorted array. Okay, so I'll tell you what the logic behind this is, what we how we built this function. Okay, what we did is we passed it an array first. Okay, I told you array dot length we have to pass so that we get the length of that array. Temp is just a temporary variable which we'll be using for swapping the two variables. Okay, and inside here we have a for loop. Okay, and inside this for loop we nested two for loops. Okay, and here inside this if condition, what we are checking is, see, this will keep on checking until the I, like as you can see here, we gave it the condition of n minus I. So n is the length, and length minus whatever I, so it will keep go on until then. Okay, so that's why we wrote the for loop for like that. If you write this on your own, you'll get a clear picture of this, why we wrote this. Okay. And inside this for loop, a simple if condition key, like you have an array. Okay. You have this array. What we are doing is we are just checking two elements one by one. Okay. So we check these two elements, and if this is less than, we'll swap them. Again, we'll after that we'll check the two one, and if they are the condition is satisfied, we'll swap them. So that is only happening over here. We are checking the greater one with the like the n plus 1th element minus the nth element. So if this condition is getting satisfied, we are swapping that. Or if that is not getting, if this if condition is not getting satisfied, we are again running the for loop for that. Okay. So this is simple, the most simple sorting algorithm, I could say. This is what we call as bubble sort. Okay. One Now we'll move into other sorting algorithms. We'll see one more sorting algorithm. Which one should we see? Let's see insertion sort now. Okay, insertion sort also is a little bit one step ahead of this. Okay, because I told you, okay, why do we have these all kinds of different algorithms? Because like if you have a large set of data, there you have to choose which algorithm you have want to use. Okay, because the time complexity also and the space complexity also matters. Okay, if you like Google the time complexity of different kinds of sorting and searching algorithm, you'll get a huge list of every one. Okay, so there that matters. That's why we have this kinds of function. Let's just remove everything again and start with a fresh algorithm, the new algorithm we'll see now. Okay, so now we have this one more algorithm called insertion sort. See, I'm doing this because this would make your logic more clear. Okay, this would like improve problem solving skills. If you have some bigger programs, there you can use these kinds of algorithms. This would make your work very easy. So that's why like the learning this is like I would say very important. Okay, and also this will like somehow like improve your coding styles. Okay, like I'll not say you'll every time need these kinds of algorithm, but like if you are also doing a simple task, then if you have these kind of thinking, uh, this would make your code more cleaner and also good. Okay, so let's just try out one more algorithm. Okay, one more is our insertion sort. Okay, insertion sort is also very simple. Insertion sort, same old thing we have to do. Array will pass. Okay, and we'll give it random elements. Okay, 2 comma 1 comma 44 1 1 1. You can give any kinds of random elements. Okay, we'll pass some random elements. Okay, bubble sort is for it name only tells you what it is for. It is for sorting, but we have different kinds of algorithm for every use case. Okay, because as I told you, every algorithm has its internal, like if you have to also see how it works internally. So like if you have a big data set, if you have a small data set, then you can choose which algorithm you have to which logic you have to apply over there. See, now we don't have any data set. Now we are just assuming a little array which we are defining by ourselves, and we are sorting it. But suppose if you are working on a big project and there you have a big data set, you have a big database of something, and there you have to choose which algorithm you have to use, which searching algorithm, sorting algorithm you have to use. Like there are various parameters. If you search on Google, you'll get a very good list about the time complexity and space complexity of these algorithms. Yeah? Okay, so we will not get into it for now. We'll just see how all these are working. So let's just build our insertion sort. Okay, insertion sort, again, very easy to work algorithm, I would say. uh, Public static void method. I hope the static keyword is everyone is familiar with this. We saw this yesterday. Why do we need this static variable? Okay. Insertion sort, and it will pass our array. Okay. And yeah, that's it. In the length of that array, n is equals to array dot length. This is also clear to everyone. Key, what is this? This is just a function which gives us the length of that specific array. Okay. Uh, integer. We will have a loop. Okay, we'll have a simple loop over here. Uh, integer j. Let's use j this time. Okay. It will start from 1. Okay, and j would be less than n, and we'll do j plus plus. Okay, that's it. So inside this, what we are doing this inside this for loop, we'll be defining a variable called key. Okay, and key is equal to array. Okay, key is equal to array ka jth element. Like the element on that jth position of that array is our key. Okay, so yeah. Okay, sorry. We have name called ARR only. So yeah, we will need one more for loop over, like one more loop over here. Instead of for loop, we'll use some other loop. We'll use the while loop now. Okay, int I is equals to j minus one. We'll use the while loop now. Okay. Mm, let's like I'll just build up the whole code first, and then I'll explain you what how it is working. Okay. Sorry, I'm just messing around with this is just ARR. Uh, Now inside this for loop, we'll write the code for some. This is the AND operator. Like we have OR operator also. Like for OR, we write this. Sorry, we write this kind of double lines, standing lines for OR operator, and this is for AND operator. Okay, like if you have studied a little bit of electronics, there we have no and or gate no or gate that works on the same thing. If like both of these conditions are satisfied, then only go inside this for loop. Or in the or condition, what will do if any of these condition is satisfied, it will go inside the for loop. Now we want ki both of these conditions would get satisfied, so we'll use this AND operator over here. Okay, so inside this we'll write some code for sorting. Okay, I plus one element. Okay, and ith element. Yeah, that's it. And I minus minus. So that's like in while loop we write the decrement or increment condition at the bottom. I hope this is everyone, this is something everyone would be familiar with. Okay, so one more thing we have to write is key as soon as the while loop is executed. Yeah, so this is the whole logic for our insertion sort. Okay, Let's see what we are doing over here is first we are getting the length of that array. The whole array will pass like whenever we'll call that function, and inside this we are having this for loop. Okay, what this for loop is doing is it is starting from the first index of that array, and it is going until the length. So n, what is n? N is the just arr dot length. Okay, arr, like I wrote a separate variable for it. I could have also specified arr dot length over here. That could have also worked. But yeah, it looks little clean if you write it separately. That's why I wrote it separately. Okay. So now after that, what we are doing is inside this for loop, we are defining this key variable. So that key is just the arr dot jth element. Okay. The element on the jth position of that array is the key, and I is nothing but the j minus 1th element. Okay. So imagine like if you have length, j would be like 1 because it is starting from 1. Okay, as we wrote here, and I is j minus 1. So j minus I would be 0. So after that we are running this for loop for sorting that element. Okay, so insertion sort is little bit different than bubble sort. Okay, like the logic behind this is a little bit different, but yeah, this is faster than bubble sort because like we do not go individual, we do not go like swapping individual like comparing and swapping two elements like bubble sort. We have a different logic over here, so that's why this is a little bit faster. Okay, so let's just write our old code like the array before sorting and array after sorting. So let's just try printing so before insertion sort, we'll just print the array like we have it as it is. Okay, so we'll run a for loop over here, and it will start from the 0th index. Okay, so integer I will now instead of that like let's try a for each loop. Okay, so that you also get a picture of that. So instead of using a traditional for loop, let's try that enhanced for loop which we saw. Okay, like in the first day I think I told you about this. So we can also use that enhanced for loop over here. So this would make our code little bit easy to understand. Okay, instead of that, so yeah, this is our enhanced for loop. Like what we are doing is we are just going and simply printing these all elements as they are. Okay. Let's just add some random element. Okay. So let's just print. What we'll be printing is I first I plus that position, like we'll print a little space. Okay, print ln will not give because it will print a new line every time. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll call our insertion sort function. We'll call it. Okay, and we'll pass our arr array. Okay, and after this we'll just with the array, our array would get sorted, and after this we'll do the same thing. Just we'll write here ki after insertion sort what we are getting. Logic would be same. Okay, we're just printing that array after the sorting operation. So let's just try running this. Try what like one thing we missed it. We'll just print a blank line over here. Okay. So this was our older one. Let's see what we get now. See, before insertion sort, we were getting this kind of array. Okay. The unsorted array I told you before insertion sort, and as we performed, we got the array sorted. Okay. Like this is a very small array of like somewhat 19 elements, but suppose you have a lot of elements, you have thousands of elements, then you can use this. Okay, this is pretty good as compared to bubble sort. Okay, yeah, this is about insertion sort. Okay, There are more types of sorting algorithms we can see. Let's just see one more, like the most preferable one. I would say the most fast one. I would say that is quicksort. Okay, quicksort, as the name suggests, that is very quick because it uses a different kinds of method. Okay, different. It has a different approach. So let's just try using it. Okay, let's just remove this whole. Okay, okay. So, like one more thing, one more kind of algorithm, we have merge sort, we have selection sort, heap sort, we have lots of them, but they have their specific applications. Okay, once you practice them, like once you practice these, you'll automatically get key which algorithm should I use at what point. Okay, so like don't worry, just try out different algorithms and you'll get a picture of this. Okay, as soon as you practice everything. Okay. One last algorithm we'll see, that is quicksort. Okay, quicksort is also like this is the best case. Have you guys heard about the big O notation? Like big O notation is something which we like which we give to a specific algorithms according to its time complexity. So this has a big O notation of just O(n). That's why it is said to be very fast. Okay, La Big O notation and all, like don't worry about them for now. Once you get experience little bit, and then try learning about all those things. Okay, first just try playing around all of these for loops and while loops, and try building different kinds of algorithms. Okay, so let's just see how quicksort works. First, we'll do the same thing. We'll just write the whole code first, uh, and then we'll see the logic behind it. Okay, so first, let's have our main method. Okay, int I. Okay, int I just have used for the for loop, but even if we don't specify, this would be fine. uh, Array. Okay, array will define integer array. Yeah, so this is an array we'll make. Okay, let's give this array some elements. Okay, 2, 1, 0. Sorry, we'll use comma. Okay, like give it any kind of random elements. Yeah, so this is our array. Okay, and yeah, now that's pretty much it. Let's just try building a method or a function for quicksort algorithm. Okay, like for this is little bit more complex. You have to build two functions for this, like one for the partition one and the other one for the actual sorting thing. Okay, so just like try focusing and try following along with me. So like this would be very easy again if you try to follow along. Okay, so first, uh, let's just write the function for partition. Okay, partition we have to do. So little bit messy this is, but this is very useful. This is very, like I told you, the time complexity of this is big O n. So this is a very fast algorithm. Okay, as compared to the other one. So yeah, just try to follow along with me for now. Okay, int array a, whatever you call it. Okay, one we'll give the beginning of our array. Okay, bg would be the beginning. Okay, and n would be the last ending point of that array. Okay, so yeah, uh, So we is supposed to return an integer. That's why it is throwing an error to us. Okay. So yeah, will return it also. Okay. First, let's just write down the whole logic. Okay. So first we have to define some variables. Okay. Left, left, right, temp. I'll tell you why we'll need all these variables. Okay. I'll just quickly build up the whole program and then I'll tell you what we are doing. Okay. Just hold on for a second. Okay. We will also have this flag one. Okay. Zero. Okay. And now we'll use a while loop over here. Okay. Flag is not equal to one. Then get inside this for loop. Okay. So we'll have this for loop over here, and as soon as we get right, will get reduced by one. Okay. If condition we have, and we'll have a flag to get one over here. Okay. One more condition we'll need. Okay. Inside this else if, yeah, we have to do this. Okay. LOC is just a variable we defined over here. Okay. It's just an integer we defined over here. I'll tell you why we defined and why are we needing all these variables which we defined. Just hold on. Okay. I'll just cook up the whole code and then I'll tell you how this is working and all. Okay. Just wait for some time. Okay. I'll quickly make up the whole code. This is for the swapping. Okay. Temporarily, as I told you, we use this for swapping. This is just a logic for swapping. Okay. Write a comment so that you can understand. Okay, what we are doing here over here is we are just swapping variables. Okay. Okay, we are swapping variables over here. Inside this else if. Okay. And we'll have and one more condition we'll have is we'll have a if condition over here. Like this if condition would get nested inside that if condition. Okay. So yeah, this would be still fine. Okay. When we'll have a if condition, if flag is not equal to 1. Okay. Variables instead of LOC and flag. LOC and flag are variables only. These are just integer variables. See, I declared them over here. These are just variables for reference, which I declared them. Okay, so they are not some anything different. They are just like variables defined by me. If you want to name it anything, if you don't want it to be flag, you can name it anything. If you don't want it to be LOC, you can name it anything. So yeah, it's our choice completely. Yeah, so here we are having a while loop, okay, and inside this while loop we'll have a condition. We'll have an and condition over here. We have to pass an and operator over here. Just this is the last condition, okay, which we are checking. After this, we'll have our main bubble sort function built in, okay. So yeah, this is just the last else if. Don't worry about this. Don't get confused. And just remove this. So this doesn't get see. Yeah. So inside is else if we will do the again the swapping thing. Okay. Swapping we'll do inside this. Temp is equals to a. Now that's it. Huh? That this condition is done. So after so much of if else conditions, we are finally done. And just let's just LOC. Okay. So that static function. Okay. Static void quick sort. We'll name it. Okay. And here we'll pass an integer array named a, and we'll pass the beginning over here also. and in like the same parameters which we had for the partition one, okay, we'll pass them over here. And inside this, very simple, quick. So inside this, what we'll do is first we'll pass the LOC location, okay. And if we'll have a simple if condition over here. Yeah, so and this LOC would be equal to the partition's output. What this the partition is going to yeah, it is. I can understand this is a little bit complicated, but yeah, like this. If you get a hand on it, if you get used to this, trust me, you can do anything. Okay, if you want to go in the field of competitive coding, there all these things, all like this is not even the zero level of that thing. Okay, you'll have the problems would be like 10 times more difficult than this. Okay, can we use different sorting algorithms for the same program? Yeah, you can use, but as I told you, like there is a like every sorting algorithm has its own complexity. It has its time complexity, space complexity, like how much space it consumes. So according to our data, according to our needs, we have these different options. We can use any of them. Okay, we can use. I told you if we have a smaller data set, there we can use bubble sort. Okay, if we have a huge data set where time matters for us, okay, then we can use this quick sort. Okay, so it's up to the it's up to you. It's which you want to use. Okay, we are calling this function inside it only. Okay, we are calling that function inside that, oh, its own body. Okay, so like don't be scared of this. This is a little bit difficult, I can understand. Quick sort. Okay, and here last step we'll do is we'll just do here the end. Okay, yeah, that's it. Now we are done with the function building. We'll just call and see how this is working. I'll explain you how this is working. So we'll jump into our main method. Okay, and in this main method we'll just print the sorted array. We'll not print the unsorted array for now. Let's just print the sorted array now. Okay, we'll call the quick sort now. Quick sort, and beginning of our array is for array is 0. Okay, and end of our array is array dot length. Okay, array dot length would be fine, I think, because like we need the endpoint of that array now. Beginning and end we are assuming, so end would be the arr a dot length, a dot length. Or just like why it is not coming. Yeah, that's it. Okay, this this hard code its length. I will figure out that later. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 it is length, but in the programming world, as we know, it starts from 0, so we'll give its length as 0. Okay. ARR. Oh, sorry, we were making mistake over here. So yeah, now we can have that. Yeah, so it will work. So now let's just print our array. Use a normal for loop. Use of the sorted array is and loop and just decode that whole array. Which will start from 0, and I should be uh, less than arr dot length. Sorry, dot length. And one last thing, we just have our I++. We'll print our AR ka ith element. That's it. Yeah. Now we are finished with this one. So yeah, now let's just see, after so much of work, how this this function is working. This is little bit complex, as you can see by the functions. Okay, so let's just see how this all is working. So see, what step one, what we are doing is, like, starting with the step one, we are defining these variables, key, the beginning, end, left, right. Okay, all those variables. And this location, okay, location is just, we are defining the leftmost, okay, leftmost element, or the beginning. Okay, both of them are equal to the location. Okay, for for the starting, and rightmost element is equal to the end of that. Okay, and this flag is nothing, flag is the temporary variable which we defined as 0. Okay, after that we have this for loop. Okay, inside this for loop we wrote this logic key, flag is not equal to 1, reduce the flag, like reduce the right one as like by 1, and perform this whole logic. Okay, mm, like this whole thing, perform this if else conditions. We have different key, if loc is not equal to rightmost element, uh, like manipulate the flag or change the flag as 1. And we have this else if conditions. So again, one more condition we had, like I would suggest key, you go through this whole code, then you'll automatically understand. You if you like search on Google some examples of this quicksort, you'll get many examples. Okay, there are many websites which 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 give you examples, very good examples for this. So I'll suggest ki go and just look through the whole code, because to see the logic is going to be the same, but the coding like the coding style would get little bit different. Okay, not everyone uses the same, but yeah, the internal logic of quicksort, if you are doing, the logic would be the same, I would say. Okay, so that's why I'll strongly suggest go like search, or just search quicksort in Java, and you'll get many examples, and you'll get the same logic also. So yeah, just try looking around through the whole code, because this is little bit complex. But as I told you, because this sorting algorithm is very fast, it has just a big O dot n ka like time complexity. And also we have this other thing, we have other method we have, which we have to specify. See, as we can see, we are getting the sorted. Okay, so any questions, please ask if you have any questions. Okay, like this today's session was little bit complex, I would say, but these all things are necessary. Okay, and like we didn't use any special properties, any special things, or any special properties of Java. We just used the normal while loops, for loops, if else conditions, and we tried out these whole algorithms. Okay, as you can see, we did not use any special things over here. Like, apart from sharing on YouTube, if you have any question, please ask. We will share the video on YouTube. Okay, I'll talk to the management team. I don't handle that thing. So if you have, apart from that, any questions, please ask. Okay. Yeah. Today I think there was some technical issues. That's why they didn't share it on YouTube. But it is there on Facebook. Okay. If you go on our Facebook channel, it is there, the whole video. So you can check it out over there also. Today's video also will be there on Facebook, because it is getting live over there. So you don't have to worry about that. Like, for now, worry about this. Okay, like in this whole code, if you have any doubt, if you think, why do we need this, why are we learning all these complex algorithms, please ask. Okay, yeah. uh, Please, everybody, put down your doubts if you have any, quickly. Otherwise, like, we'll wind up for today. This was enough. Like, this was enough complexity for today. If we try more, you all will get very confused now. So yeah. Why do we need these algorithms in automation testing? Do we need these algorithms? Yeah, in automation testing, yeah, you need like there like I've not done so much testing. I'm in the developer part, development part, but yeah, there we have that field also has different, but also the main part. Anything you do development, you do Android development, you do any backend development, you do any testing. The main thing is you need to be very strong in this core Java. Okay, all this is what, this is nothing special. This is all core Java. That's why I strongly suggest keep like get your basics clear first and then decide what you want to do. Okay, whether you want to go in the testing part or the Android development or like whatever you want to do. Okay, concepts of pointer now they doesn't exist in Java. That's why it is object oriented, like that's why we call it as purely object oriented. Pointers and all, we don't do that over here. Okay, pointers we only, I think we have in functional languages like C and all. I think they are also in C++. I've not done much C++ programming, but I know the basics. Like tomorrow we will look into collections. Okay, various kinds of collections, various different kinds of data structure. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be looking into that. Okay, we'll look into like I'll figure out what we can do. We'll mostly do exception handling or data structures like the linked list, stack, queue, doubly ended queue, singly ended queue, or like whatever they are. Okay, we'll look into them tomorrow. I was planning to do exception handling today, but we don't have sufficient time for that. So we'll continue with that tomorrow. Okay. Output is nothing. It is just sorting that array. Focus on the this this whole logic. Even I don't know if at some point I could have messed up with in some small thing. So yeah, it is just a normal sorting algorithm. Okay, it is just sorting this array. What we have is okay. So yeah, how do we implement linked list in Java if pointers don't exist in Java? I'll tell you tomorrow. As I told you, tomorrow we are going to see collections and different data structures. Okay. Tomorrow I'll tell you how do we implement linked list on AMP. There is a separate package in Java for collections. Okay. We can directly use a linked list and all map. If you know map set. Okay. So we can do that. This is a quick sort. Can we try this using bubble sort? What is the difference between them? I've told this many times. Key time complexity. You know, if you have a like here we cannot see the difference because we have just limited number of element in our array. If you have a huge data set, if you have a huge database like lakhs of entries are over there, and if you want to do some sorting operation over on that database or that data or that data array whatever you have, at that case it matters. Okay, because at that case if you do a normal bubble sort, it will take a lot of time because the logic behind that is like we swap everything. So that's why we have these different kinds of algorithms. Okay, once you start practicing, once you get used to this, you'll get a clear idea ki at what point what kind of algorithm should I use. Okay, difference, as I told you, the difference is just behind its logic and behind how they work. Okay, working is different because it's their logic is different. Their code, as we saw, the bubble sort code was very little. Okay, like little more, that doesn't matter, but the logic behind both of them are very different. That's why we have this. Okay, if you try out, I'll suggest ki today you guys try out garbage collection and all. We'll see. Okay, I will explain it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll finish up with collections and all, and we'll see that also. Okay, like if you are starting, why are we concerned about those advanced topic for now? First, stick to your basic. Make sure ki everything, every basic concept is clear. Then we'll jump to those topics. We'll dheere dheere go step by step. Okay. Okay, so I guess everyone's doubt is clear. We'll wind up for today, and we'll as I told you, tomorrow we'll look into collections and exception handling. Okay.
Okay, so Piyush, I guess we can wind up right now.
Okay. Okay.
There is no more queries for today. We'll be
Okay.
going. We'll be doing the next part tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much. Yeah.